What's going on, folks? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. Today on the internet, we're checking out popular mechanics from the 1970s. I believe I have most, if not all, of the popular mechanics magazines. We're just going to be going over topically what we got on the covers, take a look at technology, digging into all of this totally sweet retrofuturism ones. I love the retrofuturism. Of course, you notice them more in the issues from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They don't actually have pictures of anything. They will have drawn images. Sorry, I should say that we won't have they have photographs mostly on the covers instead of drawn images like they used to have. The flying car. That didn't really get too far. Now, is that drawn or is that real? I am really bad at telling. I think it's drawn. But anyways, the flying car was a thing that we always wanted back in the day, but it sounds like we just didn't get around to because of how dangerous it was for things to fall off of the cars. It could be potentially quite fatal. Wow, those are remote control. Those things are freaking huge for remote control. Holy frick, those are full-size RC cars. Okay, so RC is definitely really expensive, even these days, and it's unbelievably easy to break those things. I wonder what these things would look like under the top. That looks like a basic, just different shells, frames. I've never seen cars so big. Trucks, absolutely. Oh, yeah, you know you got a cool dad when. Oh, wow, that's fancy. It's interesting. I was never really exposed to this level of electric car. This must have been what cool city people did. Well, my folks are busy chopping wood, Bobby. Get out and moving with your bike. You can tell it's the 70s because in the 50s he wouldn't have been wearing a helmet. Boats used to be a big deal back in the day in popular mechanics. It seems to be something that we've lost over time. You have to be really rich if you want a boat these days. The better way is to build your home with Goodyear. Man, I could go with more of the retrofuturism, but still. You want to buy your own plane? Popeye the Plane Man? That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, the three-stage vacation home. Man, we are running out of houses in Canada really quick. I wonder why we can't just bust this stuff out. I'll tell you why. Because we got too many people who make money off of controlling other things instead of actually producing anything. That's right. Oh, geez, you can't have a cover like this these days. So it's 2025. In 2023, you couldn't have a cover like this because everyone hated white people too much. There wasn't enough representation. The white man had had their time. And that's remarkable. We can say that about that time, though we are coming out of it now because Trump got in, which I'm not exactly happy about that. But at the same time, we can get back to having white people exclusively on the cover of magazines and not feel bad for about it, or not feel like we've done something wrong. More 71's car. That's interesting. A car with no doors that way. I wonder if that would be more dangerous or safer. I know it would be a hell of a lot more fun, that's for sure. Oh, check this one out. I remember using one of these. We used that, I believe it was to turn the antenna on top of the house so it would move a little differently and we could get a slightly better or perfect picture. That thing, I still remember using that next door. And yeah. Oh, wow, that kind of seems like a depressing picture. Huh. Huh. I mean, it does. The houses seem. Oh, that barn seems like it has holes in it. This doesn't seem like a pause. I don't know. Anyways. Here we see a new family in Portland or in California, and they're gonna go off and find a nice parking spot and not start a family at all because no one can afford houses, especially in leftist areas. I'm a lefty and part of the LGBTQ. Hey, I've seen one up close. I can say these things. I seriously feel like we've lost something by getting away from having things like this and having more tablets around everywhere. Oh, here comes my son. He's coming to take the yogurt that I'm keeping chilled out in the window because it's that freaking cold in Canada right now. I don't care what anyone tells you, you can't really heat with solar panels in Canada in January. Get out of here, kid, you bother me. Awful lot of fly crap. Man, y'all got to play with fire back in the 70s. Seriously? Jeez. You guys had it on lockdown. Back in the day when your cars were cars and computers were things that you hardly understood. These days, cars are computers, and society is in computers. And computers are just things and nobody. Computers don't have feelings, man. And meanwhile, everyone's all like, I hate computers. Get out of my society and get out of my car. Oh my, there is an awful, awful, awful lot to be said about this image. I mean, if those kids, I can't even, I can't even say it, but bad things could happen in this image. I think we all know, and yeah, people could get hurt. Let's just say the kids could get hurt in this, though it is really cool and fun. That is not big enough for a family, I don't think. It looks really fun, though. It looks really fun. Let's just suspend disbelief for a second and say, but man, that could go so poorly. It's just, wow. Okay, I gotta calm down a little bit. So I'm a father, and I can't tell you how much pressure I feel to keep these kids safe at all times, and how much it strongly feels like the world looks down on me if I ever do anything that could even remotely seem like I could be hurting my kids. I mean, if I had my kids in the back of a 4x4 truck and Karen seen me, she would want my kids gone forever. She would absolutely want my kids gone forever. And in that, we've facilitated a society where children have been kept away from danger so much and so harshly that they don't know how to deal with it when it actually comes to them flatly and amazingly. So I'm in my same village where I've always been, and I'm literally a block away from the co-op. It's freaking amazing that people in my village no longer feel like they can have their kids go out and walk around the block. Imagine not feeling safe enough to let your 8-year-old walk around the block in the village. It's just, I'm sorry, I'm getting way too much into this, but there's so much to be said about this image. In the 70s, they thought this was so cool they could put it on a cover. Today, if you put this on a cover, like if I try, I sincerely feel like if I tried this, oh, my heart's just kind of raising a beat just thinking about it because I got, man, it is so hard to be a father these days that sometimes I will take my kids to a park and I will get looked at sideways as if I'm not supposed to be there, as if men aren't supposed to. I'm not having that conversation. You guys know what I'm saying. I know you hear me. Moving on to happier, higher energy things. I've always wanted to use one of these suckers. These things are in every popular mechanics, basically. I don't think you can go through 6 issues of popular mechanics and not see a different version of one of these propelled by electric batteries, sealed lead acid stuff. I love the retro futurism, 1970s boats. I love. Wait, what is that? I love looking at these things and trying to figure out what the heck it is. Is this Soviet? That is a really high pokerator for a really strange. Oh, it's an icebreaker too. Jeez, that thing would have to go down so low in order to hold that surface. It's a picture. It's a picture. Suspend disbelief, Nevin. Jeez, check out that kitchen. I know I'm supposed to be mainly doing covers. I open these things to look at other things, but man, one thing that kind of gets me going is that so many people, even eco people, would walk into a house like this, even if it was mint, and say, oh, that's so dated. I need to update the counters and everything because it's not the way I like it to be. Oh, and it needs to be super minimalist. I have to tear out things to make it more minimalist, even though in creating new things, I am actually hurting the world instead of just using what's there. I'm sorry, I'm ranting again. Okay, so here's the receipt. Submarine icebreaker for Arctic oil. Huh. Well, I guess that never ended up getting created. I love the retrofuturism, and I love it when you get the retrofuturism that shows you the insides of things. In my day, Scholastic, book fair, whatever, would have these big, kind of expensive books that would show you like the inside of a Star Destroyer and everything that's going on in there, and they'd show you the inside of all this stuff. I can't imagine why you would want an icebreaker to sit under the water ever. But hey, it makes for good articles, right? This ticks me off more than it should. It shouldn't tick me off at all, but in all these popular mechanics magazines, you see all kinds of people making their own things, and I get that. But making your own RV, making your own, um, what is this? It's freaking awesome, is what it is. Okay, so I understand that, but it shouldn't bother me. As a tech guy and as a hacker, I should love the idea. I should love people having the ability to make this. Maybe I'm more disgusted with myself that I come from such a throwaway society that nothing is actually repaired these days. When I'm looking at really old popular mechanics magazines, one thing that I notice is they're constantly advertisements for hydro presses, jacks that use hydro. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm using the wrong words, and you guys know what I'm talking about. A lift that uses hydraulic fluid, hydraulic lift, anyways, to repair those things. And man, working in the factories, anytime something like that breaks, we throw it out. If your screwdriver screws up, you throw it out. If your whatever screws up, you throw it out. Nobody fixes anything anymore. And here, not only are they fixing their own things, they're creating their own things. It's freaking magnificent. Oh, I love this one. Oh, yeah, that looks like some retro futurism. Is that a freaking blimp? I think it is a blimp. I love how large it is. There's no power like overpower. Jerry Gribbles to come back bigger than ever. What am I looking at? Fire. I love the art. I'm going to take that part out of there. So I can enjoy that image now. I can really enjoy that image. I really feel badly for the individual under my hand, and I hope everything's okay with him, because let's face it, that happens, and burn damage is the worst. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Oh, wait, he doesn't actually look that bad. Man, I don't know. Maybe it's something about getting older, but the older I get, the less I am okay with seeing people get hurt. Like when I was little, I could watch the craziest things on TV and be like, okay, in liveleak.org. But then after I grew up, once the reality of life started coming through me and I started living through harder things start getting harder for me. Like, just you walk into a burn ward and you'll never think the same way. I'm gonna carry on. Props to any parent that did something like this and let their kid have a pirate flag. Props to any parent that lets their kid fly a pirate flag somewhere. Legit. Ermagerd, that is so cute and I love it. I love it. I will never be as cool as the guy in this picture. I legit would be interested in figuring out how they managed to get that shot. There's a lot to be said in the 70s and the 80s. There was photography with an advertisement that we'll never really find anywhere else. You can really see in the 70s how everything was about having things and getting things, and sometimes with these things, doing things. People seem to want to travel the world when they were younger, and then when they're older, travel down to the creek. Oh my goodness, I do love that cover. Calculators are getting smaller and smaller. Your teachers are always saying, get a calculator, or you'll never have a calculator in your pocket, so learn math. Ha! Ha! To them I say, ha! Christmas in the 70s, where people still smoke 'em peace pipe. My dad smoked 'em peace pipe, but I think he only did it because his grandpa did it. And I think his grandpa only did it because he had bad teeth. Legit. Yeah, that's how stuff goes. So I would really love to fly in one of these, but I don't think I'd trust it unless I really trusted the person who upkept it, or if I really trusted myself. And legit, look how I live. I'm not sure I would trust myself in a plane like that, but honestly, it would probably be okay. Alaskan. I really like that. I really like that idea. Geez, I really like that idea. Just put the oil under the road. And that way, when you had a cataclysmic explosion, there would be none. You'd no problems. There's nothing could go wrong here. Nothing could go wrong. Just like putting reproductive organs right next to the butthole. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong. Okay, so talking about the 70s and nothing could go wrong. From what I understand, within the 70s, the auto market was still figuring things out. They had a great idea. I think this was American. They had great ideas for how to make a better engine, how to make better suspension, how to make better everything. But when they put all of these to get things together, it created a complex system, a car that didn't function right 100% all the way through. They didn't vibrate right. There's a word, I hardly even understand this, but a tech who knows about this situation with 70s cars will know what I'm talking about. But heck, in the 70s, we were still trying to figure out like cars and the world, and every location's a little bit different. I mean, for example, I'm pretty sure it was the Neon that didn't do very well in Canada or the UK, one or the other, because the locations had a different grade of oil and that or gas, and that gas would actually eat through something. Or don't quote me on this. I probably have the wrong brand, and someone out there knows a lot more about this stuff than I will be able to correct me in a moment. 5 great vacations homes. Man, Popular Mechanics, I'm glad that you're thinking about vacation homes, because me up here in Canada, I'm sorry guys, I'm probably sounding like a broken record now, but I can't tell you how heartbreaking it is to look at these things sometimes and see people living happy lives, having backyard niceness, having all of this stuff. And man, I myself in Canada worked as I worked in IT, and I worked on the floor of auto parts manufacturing, and I have a clear idea of what auto parts manufacturing was like in previous generations and what it could get you. You could get a small place. Legitimately in Canada right now, we can't get a place like this with a bathroom. There are families of 4 that can't get a place like this. Though this is a garage in the 70s, and of course this is we're being wishful, right? Everyone wants a little garage like this, but I'm telling you right now, our new society within Canada, the way it is right now, with all the rules that we have the ability to build everything. We have land out the yin yang, but we don't have enough land for our own people. And not only that, but no, I can't take that next step. I think y'all know what that next step is, but I'm not taking that next step. What I will say is I love everyone, and we need immigrants. We definitely need immigrants, but I am kind of heartbroken by how much I see in the past that we could do. But at the same time, in having those thoughts is a lot like thinking that you could be like Homer Simpson and get a house with a den. I can't even imagine what it would be like to have a house with a den and having 2 cars while working at the nuclear factory, and at the same time Bud Bundy, was that his name? Mr. Bundy making money as a shoe salesman for women's shoes. Like, of course that never actually happened, but sometimes some places it did happen. It absolutely did happen. There's places you could get away with doing that. Sometimes they get away with it because they came from some generational wealth, or they had family that was in a war, or they came back from a war to a country that wanted them to do better. And it's there. There's that. There's this hope for the future moving forward. But I don't really sense that today. But there's hope. It's back here. Things went. They'll come back. Gotta be positive. Gotta be positive. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it from me, Neff from Nest Tech. That's like and subscribe if you like this stuff. Always appreciate it. And as always, folks, take care of each other, will you?